This week's episode of Boruto was a mixed bag of a lot of different things. Okay, in one hand, I can praise it because the fight scenes were fucking dope. The animation on those fights were dope. I do agree that they actually kind of just stepped it up a notch, and they did a really good job with the Boruto fight scene. And even, you know, with Mitsuki and Sumire. Now, the one thing that I gotta talk to you guys about that really bothered me on this episode was how similar Boruto is to Naruto. And I remember there being an interview where they said specifically that Boruto was not gonna be a copy of Naruto. He was gonna be his own character with his own specific ideals. And so far we haven't seen that. We really haven't seen that. The only thing that can kind of attest to that to some extent is the fact that, you know, he doesn't really have a good relationship with Naruto at the moment. But other than that, he's like a carbon copy. In this episode, you get a big, bright fucking shining light showing you that, okay? Like, he's literally just like the whole Sasuke and Naruto thing where you are my friend. The only difference is that he says, you are my classmate. And it's so fucking annoying because he says it so often in this episode that it makes you just want to fucking shut your brain off, alright? So, the episode starts out just like it left off on the last week's episode. We have Kakashi explaining to us how summoning jutsu works. Okay, so whoever summons an animal, right? An animal summoning or whatever, usually that summoning is in the same world as the person summoning it. Like, it assists in their world. It's not like they live in a different dimension or some shit. But because the new does exist in a different dimension, and Sumire, who's the caster, is also in that dimension, they can't sense their presence. And you have Naruto, there's a shot of Naruto in Sage Mode, trying to find, you know, any kind of presence, and he can't do that. Now, at the same time, you have Chikadai, Inojin, and, you know, Denki. Is that his name, Denki, or Genki? I'm pretty sure it's Denki, alright? Whichever one it is, I'm sorry. He's just so fucking irrelevant. Now, I'm sorry. Anyways, you know, they're looking for Boruto, and they notice that Mitsuki, Boruto, and the class rep are missing. So they start looking for them, and they see that some incident had just happened as well. So Chikadai sees this light across the sky, kind of giving him an indication where they might be, and that plays a little role at the end, just a little bit. So anyways, we move on to the actual other dimension, okay? Boruto, as soon as he lands, he's not worried about where he is. He's more worried about the class rep, okay? Now, he goes, and there's like a little fight that starts out with the new, which, yo, I gotta say, the animation for that was really well done. They really did a good job in the animation when Boruto was fighting the new. And then the other thing that actually happened during that fight was that Boruto's eye actually came into play, and he could suddenly see the entire chakra network of the new. Just like how, you know, Hyugas with the Byakugan can see the chakra network of their opponents, Boruto was no exception. He did that exact same thing, but the only difference here is that he actually could see the specific weak point of the new, which is right at the base of the tail. So Mitsuki comes into play. They set up a plan to stall the new while Boruto sets up these explosive tags on these big ass ropes that are hanging that must weigh like 20 tons, and he throws it down on the new, right, while attacking the base of the tail. So we have the new pinned down. Mitsuki is about to just finish off the new. Mitsuki is like, okay, it's time for you to go to sleep. And Sumire comes into play to protect the new. Now, with that, we start out this thing where she starts explaining the backstory. We get like the backstory of specifically why she's doing what she's doing. Okay, we did get a little bit of that last week's episode, but this week it was more like, okay, here's the full thing. So, after the war, Sumire's dad was considered a criminal. Like, he was treated like a criminal, I should say, by the village. And that made him have to run away from the village, fearing for his life with his wife. And his wife actually fell ill because of the anxiety and the fear that they were gonna be, you know, captured, or they were gonna like be found out from their hiding spot. And she died. Okay, so Sumide's dad got angry by that fact, and he decided to implant the new into Sumide because he wanted revenge on the Leaf Village. So it was more like, okay, my wife died because of this, all this bullshit, so I'm gonna make my daughter the weapon, basically. And that's what happened. Okay, so this entire episode, you have Boruto trying to kind of persuade the class rep into not doing whatever she's trying to do. And we come to find out the reason why this ghost that was attacking people, you know, possessing people, the reason why it could only affect people with like a burden on them, like some kind of trouble, was because Sumide herself was under heavy stress and, you know, with the burden of having to avenge you know, her dad and all that stuff. And the explanation was kind of weak, to be honest. It was like, okay, I guess, but like, come on, man, really, you couldn't come up with something better? The other thing is that as her desire to take revenge kind of wavers, you notice that, from Boruto's perspective anyways, you notice that, you know, there's less power being kind of drawn from the whole hatred and all that shit, you know, just like the ghost incident. What ends up happening is that Mitsuki and Sumide fight for a little bit, and Boruto has to get in the way. It was a good ass fight until Boruto got in the way. And why did he get in the way? Because Sumide is his classmate. He just doesn't stop fucking saying that. He really just doesn't stop. Okay, so we have a little thing where Sumide has her tattoo. Her tattoo just cracks. It just fucking cracks, and it just, you know, it disappears from her back, basically. So then the entire dimension where they are, it starts crumbling down. And Mitsuki grabs Boruto, just ready to dip out of there. Okay, you have Sumide just sitting there. And the other thing here that I gotta mention that I kind of skipped over too, was that the new all of a sudden starts, you know, kind of nudging the class rep, just kind of like how a dog does to a dog owner, you know, where they start kind of like caressing you with their face. He started doing that, and she wanted him to take her chakra and then blow up, but he didn't want to do that. He just kept kind of acting like a dog, and Boruto tells her, you know, maybe he thinks you're its parent, okay? You know, just like this relationship between a dog owner and a dog, okay? So then the dimension starts crumbling down, and she's just frozen there. And Boruto, like I said, and Mitsuki are about to dip out. All of a sudden, you see Boruto next to Sumide, and the new just saying, Sumide asks him, why, Boruto? Because you're my classmate, okay? We gotta remember that you're my classmate, okay? You're not my friend, you're my classmate. So the one thing that just baffled the living fuck out of me, something I did not expect. How do you think they escaped? How do you think they escaped? They opened up a portal? It happens, but not before they fucking ride on top of the new like it's a fucking horse, dude. And then they get to this place, like on the top area of the dimension. This like a portal from where they came, I believe. I believe that's where they came. And there's a portal, and it's closing as they're approaching it. So it ends up closing completely. But then we have, you know, Inojin, Chikadai, and Denki. I believe it's Denki, man. He's so fucking irrelevant. And they're calling out for Boruto's name, and he can see them through his eye. Boruto can see them through his eye. And he just charges forward, a dimension opens, boom, they're back on the Leaf Village. Now, the way this shit got resolved, it left a bad taste in my mouth, dude. Because, you know, Sai comes in with like a bunch of other ninja saying, hey, listen, we're not gonna hurt you. I used to walk the same path as you, which I get it, you know, they're trying to be more understanding to her situation and whatnot, which is pretty cool. I just feel that, you know, this bitch did try to destroy the Leaf Village with what would be considered a nuke, my boy. So maybe, I don't know, arrest her like right then and there. But no, they just walk off. Sumide literally tells Inojin and Chikadai and the others, because they don't know, by the way. Like, Boruto gets asked what happened and he's just like avoiding it. But basically, Sumide tells everybody like, oh no, I'm just gonna go talk to Sai for a bit. Like, you know, like they're just gonna have a chat. And then as she's walking away, Boruto's eye power activates, and he sees that the new, instead of being on her back like the tattoo, because the tattoo disappeared from her back, instead of that tattoo being on her back, he sees that now it's in her left hand. And it's pretty cool, man. I guess, you know, because they want the new to play some kind of part in the future, I'm assuming. I guess that's why they did that. But fuck, man, the ending to this arc was just garbage. It was garbage. That's all I'm gonna say. It was trash. Like, if anything, dude, if nothing else, it leads you to believe, okay, so this is why it's considered a kids show, because the way it ended was just so kid friendly, you know. There wasn't really much there. But regardless, we did get a brand new ending to Boruto, which is a lot better than the first one we had, you know, where yeah, you know, that ending. It's a lot better than that one, and it actually showcases, obviously, the Konoha kids, and it's a pretty dope ending. You guys should check it out. You know, just don't skip through it like most people do. And I think we're supposed to get a brand new opening soon too. I'm not too sure. But the next week's episode, it has to do with Sumire still, like I said, and it's something to do with her being transferred out of the academy, but you know, nobody wants to tell Boruto because then Boruto might do something reckless. I don't know what that's going, to be honest, but I'm hoping to see something else. And I'm hoping that the next arc ain't gonna end like that, because, wow, bro, that shit was horrible. In my opinion, the one thing I like was the animation. I like the two fights that I saw there, and that's it. Like, that's really it. By the way, my boy, Seichimo Naruto, that shit was dope, alright? So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave it here. And remember, if I ever do you a favor, it's because you're my classmate.